Imagine waking up one morning, pouring yourself a glass of water, and realizing it doesn't quite quench your thirst. You feel tired, your ankles a little puffy, your blood pressure not what it used to be. Most people would shrug it off as just aging, but what if it was something far more important quietly whispering for your attention? Your kidneys are like silent guardians, filtering 50 gallons of blood every single day, removing toxins you never see, keeping your body in delicate balance. But when they begin to slow, something as small as a number on a lab test, creatinine, can signal trouble ahead. That number is more than ink on paper. It's a reflection of how well your kidneys are protecting you. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to channel Vital Science for Seniors. Today, I'll take you on a journey through 5 natural nuts that can help decrease creatinine and improve GFR in ways that may surprise you. I still remember Mr. Carter, a 72-year-old retired teacher who came into my clinic with a folder full of lab results. He looked at me with worried eyes and said, "Doc, they tell me my creatinine is high. I've cut down on meat, I don't drink soda, but I feel like I'm losing this battle." He was the kind of man who had spent his life nurturing young minds, and now he felt helpless watching his own body decline. What he didn't know then was that even something as humble as a walnut could give his kidneys a bit of relief. Walnuts carry within them a kind of quiet medicine, packed with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically a plant form called ALA. They act like oil for a rusty hinge. Imagine the tiny filters in your kidneys, the nephrons, as delicate sieves. Over time, inflammation makes them stiff and clogged, like a coffee filter coated in residue. Omega-3s help reduce that swelling, keeping those filters flexible and open. One study published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that higher intake of plant omega-3s was associated with improved kidney outcomes, a quiet reassurance that food can indeed shape lab results. Beyond their fats, walnuts bring antioxidants such as ellagic acid and melatonin. If inflammation is the fire, oxidative stress is the smoke that further chokes the kidneys. These antioxidants act like gentle fans, clearing the smoke so the kidneys can breathe again. Mr. Carter loved hearing that because he always took comfort in practical metaphors more than numbers. Then there's L-arginine, an amino acid that helps blood vessels relax and widen. Think of your arteries as garden hoses. Over time, stress and poor diet can make them stiff, making it harder for water, your blood, to flow. L-arginine in walnuts helps keep those hoses pliable, lowering pressure on the kidneys and improving circulation throughout the body. But walnuts are not just about nutrients on a chart. They're also about how you enjoy them. I often recommend 1 ounce, about 14 walnut halves eaten raw. That's enough to deliver the benefits without overwhelming the body with phosphorus. Some of my patients enjoy them tossed into a homemade kidney-friendly trail mix: walnuts, a few unsweetened cranberries, coconut flakes, and a sprinkle of chia seeds. It's a snack that feels indulgent but is deeply supportive. Of course, every food has its cautions. Walnuts are naturally high in phosphorus, and for those with more advanced kidney disease, too much can strain the system. They're also dense, so eating them late at night can cause digestive discomfort, leaving you tossing and turning instead of sleeping peacefully. When Mr. Carter began adding a small handful of raw walnuts in the afternoon instead of reaching for cookies, he felt the difference. Not overnight, but steadily. His energy improved, his swelling lessened, and when his next labs came back, the creatinine number that had haunted him began to creep down little by little. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I've got some control again." And isn't that what health is truly about? Regaining a sense of agency, one small habit at a time. There's a certain joy in cracking open a pistachio shell. That small act of discovery mirrors the way this nut can unlock hidden support for the kidneys. I think of Maria, a 68-year-old grandmother who came to me feeling frustrated. "I've done everything right," she said. "I walk every day, I take my medications, but my GFR keeps dropping." She missed the days when she could play tag with her grandkids without worrying about fatigue. For her, pistachios became more than a snack. They became a symbol of hope. Pistachios are rich in magnesium, a mineral often overlooked but critical for kidney health. Magnesium acts like nature's muscle relaxer, loosening the walls of blood vessels. Picture a river running through a narrow canyon. When the walls tighten, the flow slows and pressure builds. But when the walls relax, the river runs freely. That's exactly what magnesium does inside your blood vessels, improving circulation, easing pressure on the kidneys, and supporting a steadier GFR. These little green gems also contain a compound called beta-sitosterol, which helps reduce inflammation and supports cholesterol balance. Inflammation is one of the kidney's greatest enemies, slowly eroding their ability to filter waste. By calming that internal fire, pistachios create a more peaceful environment for kidney cells to function. Then there's vitamin B6 and potassium, both present in generous amounts. B6 aids in protein metabolism, an especially important task when kidneys are under stress because excess protein breakdown can burden them. Potassium, when consumed mindfully, helps regulate blood pressure and fluid balance, both critical for those watching their kidney numbers. But here's where caution is key. If your GFR falls below 60, potassium can build up, creating its own risks. It's like watering a garden. Too little and the plants wilt, too much and the roots drown. Maria loved pistachios because they felt like a treat. A portion of about 1 ounce, roughly 49 pistachios, enjoyed in the afternoon gave her something to look forward to. It replaced her habit of reaching for processed crackers and sugary snacks. She noticed not only more stable energy, but also less swelling in her legs, which she described as feeling lighter on my feet. One unique advantage of pistachios is their relatively low oxalate content, which lowers the risk of kidney stones, a fear many older adults share. They also support blood sugar control, which is vital since diabetes is one of the leading causes of kidney disease. Of course, not all pistachios are created equal. Flavored, salted, dyed, or sugar-coated versions lose much of their health-giving magic. They become more like candy than medicine. I often remind my patients, stick with the plain, unsalted kind. Pistachios are calorie-dense too, so while they nourish, they're not meant to replace a meal. When Maria returned months later, she brought a small bag of pistachios with her as a gift. She laughed and said, "Doc, I eat them slower now, savoring each one, and my creatinine isn't climbing anymore. It feels like I've pressed pause." That pause, the slowing of decline, can be the most precious gift for anyone living with kidney disease. When I think of almonds, I think of resilience. They grow in tough, dry climates, yet still produce something nourishing. In many ways, they mirror the journey of those living with kidney challenges, learning to thrive despite difficulty. One of my patients, Helen, a 74-year-old artist, once told me, "I want my body to be like my paintings, vibrant, strong, full of light." But when her doctor mentioned diet for kidney disease, she imagined bland meals, no joy, and endless restrictions. I introduced her to almonds, not as a forbidden indulgence, but as a carefully chosen ally. Almonds are remarkable because of their vitamin E content. Just 1 ounce provides about 7 milligrams. Vitamin E acts like a protective varnish on Helen's canvases, shielding kidney cells from oxidative stress. When waste products accumulate, they create free radicals, unstable molecules that damage tissue. Vitamin E stabilizes them, preserving the delicate structure of the kidneys the way a protective coating preserves a painting. Magnesium, manganese, and fiber also play starring roles. Magnesium, as we've seen with pistachios, relaxes blood vessels and supports circulation. Manganese helps activate antioxidant enzymes, the body's internal defense system, and fiber slows sugar absorption, protecting both kidneys and blood vessels. For many older adults, especially those with diabetes, this is a lifeline. Then there's protein. Many worry that protein strains the kidneys, and with animal sources, that can be true in excess. But almonds offer plant-based protein, about 6 grams per ounce. That's gentler on the kidneys. Think of it as music played softly in the background, nourishing without overwhelming. One of the best ways to prepare almonds for kidney health is to soak them overnight. Helen began placing 6 to 8 almonds in a glass of water each evening. In the morning, she peeled the softened skins and ate them slowly with her tea. She described it as a ritual, simple, grounding, and delicious. Blending almonds into a smoothie with almond milk, banana, and cinnamon also gave her a kidney-friendly breakfast that felt indulgent rather than restrictive. But we must talk about cautions too. Almonds are high in oxalates, which can increase the risk of kidney stones. For someone already struggling with stones, this can be dangerous. They also contain phosphorus, which can be harmful if GFR is below 60 or if kidney disease has progressed to stage 3 or beyond. Commercially roasted, salted, or sugar-coated almonds add unnecessary stress to the body. Helen used to love the honey-roasted kind, but after we talked, she chose raw or lightly soaked instead. Over time, she noticed something remarkable. Her energy, once unpredictable, became steadier. Her lab results showed her creatinine stabilizing, and she began to feel less like a patient and more like herself again. She even started painting a new series she called Flow, inspired by rivers and streams. She told me, "It feels like my kidneys are flowing again, like the dam has been lifted." That's the beauty of almonds, not just as food, but as a gentle companion in the journey of protecting kidney health. Brazil nuts are unlike any other food I recommend. They are powerful, almost too powerful, which is why they demand respect. Imagine holding in your hand a nut so rich in selenium that a single bite could transform your body's antioxidant defenses. That's the Brazil nut. Small, unassuming, yet one of the most concentrated natural sources of a mineral that plays a critical role in lowering inflammation and supporting kidney detox. I remember George, a 70-year-old retired teacher, who came to me after his lab showed steadily rising creatinine. He looked tired, discouraged, and admitted, "Doc, I feel like my body is betraying me." George was meticulous about his diet. He measured his water, avoided salt, and followed every rule. But still, his numbers worsened. When I suggested adding 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day, he raised an eyebrow. "How could something so small make a difference?" he asked. Months later, when we reviewed his labs, his creatinine had stopped climbing. George smiled and said, "That little nut gave me back a little hope. Here's why." Selenium, present in Brazil nuts at levels of 68-90 micrograms per nut, fuels the production of glutathione, often called the body's master antioxidant. If your kidneys are like hardworking janitors, sweeping toxins out of the bloodstream, glutathione is the mop and bucket they rely on. Without enough of it, the kidneys tire, overwhelmed by oxidative stress. By boosting glutathione, Brazil nuts lighten their load. These nuts also supply zinc and healthy fats, which work together to balance hormones and strengthen cell membranes. When cells are flexible and well-nourished, they can withstand stress better. It's like oiling the hinges of an old door. It creaks less, opens more smoothly, and lasts longer. But the strength of Brazil nuts is also their danger. Too much selenium can cause toxicity, leading to fatigue, brittle nails, even a metallic taste in the mouth. That's why I stress 1 to 2 nuts a day, no more. It's tempting to think, if a little is good, more is better. But with Brazil nuts, restraint is the medicine. Another consideration is freshness. Brazil nuts are prone to rancidity because of their high-fat content. I always tell patients to store them in the refrigerator and buy in small amounts. The last thing anyone needs is to introduce spoiled oils into an already stressed body. George began keeping his Brazil nuts in a small jar in the fridge. Every morning after breakfast, he would eat exactly 2, no more, no less. He treated it like a ritual, even calling them his guardian nuts. He noticed not just steadier kidney numbers, but also fewer colds during the winter, a reflection of selenium's role in supporting the immune system. There's even research to support what George experienced. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that just a single serving of Brazil nuts significantly increased selenium levels and improved antioxidant capacity in adults. It's rare to see such a dramatic effect from one simple food. So when I think of Brazil nuts, I think of medicine disguised as a snack. Potent, protective, but requiring wisdom to use well. For seniors like George, it's not just about nutrition, it's about empowerment, the reassurance that even small steps can shift the tide. Hazelnuts often bring to mind chocolate spreads and holiday treats, but beneath their cozy reputation lies a quiet strength that makes them a surprising ally for kidney health. Unlike the bold intensity of Brazil nuts or the familiar comfort of almonds, hazelnuts offer something gentler. Subtle nutrients that work steadily, like a steady hand guiding you across uneven ground. One of the reasons hazelnuts matter is their high content of arginine, an amino acid that helps the body produce nitric oxide. If you picture your blood vessels as winding rivers, nitric oxide is the current that keeps them flowing smoothly, preventing clogs and narrowing. For someone with kidney challenges, where every bit of blood flow counts, this can mean the difference between strain and relief. Stronger circulation supports filtration, helping reduce the buildup of creatinine in the blood. Hazelnuts are also rich in quercetin, a plant compound shown to reduce kidney fibrosis. Fibrosis is like scar tissue. When kidneys are injured repeatedly, tiny scars form, stiffening the organ and reducing its ability to filter. Quercetin acts like a gentle hand, sanding down rough edges, keeping tissue more flexible and functional. For seniors at risk of progression in chronic kidney disease, that's a powerful gift. Another hidden strength is their low oxalate content. Unlike almonds, which can increase the risk of kidney stones, hazelnuts pose little threat in that regard. This makes them especially valuable for older adults who have already struggled with painful stones or are trying to prevent them. And with manganese to support the body's natural antioxidant enzymes, hazelnuts provide a second layer of defense against the oxidative stress that damages kidneys. I recall a patient, Maria, a 67-year-old retired librarian who loved baking. When her doctor mentioned kidney decline, she felt her joy in the kitchen slipping away. "If I can't bake, I'll lose part of who I am," she told me with tears in her eyes. I encouraged her not to give up, but to adapt. We found a recipe for a hazelnut crumble, ground hazelnuts mixed with olive oil and a sprinkle of cinnamon, that she could use as a topping for apples. It was kidney-friendly, nourishing, and still carried the warmth of her kitchen. She began to see that protecting her kidneys didn't mean abandoning joy. It meant redefining it. Of course, as with every nut, moderation matters. I recommend 10 to 12 hazelnuts midday, ideally plain or lightly roasted at home. Avoid the sugar-coated, chocolate-dipped, or heavily processed versions that line supermarket shelves. Those add empty calories, sugar, and unnecessary stress on kidneys already working hard. Over the months, Maria found her energy more stable, her mood lighter. She even brought me a small jar of her crumble one winter morning, smiling as she said, "Doc, my kidneys may not be perfect, but they're dancing to a softer tune now." For her, hazelnuts became not just food, but a bridge between health and happiness, science and tradition, fear and hope. That's the quiet beauty of hazelnuts. They don't shout their benefits the way Brazil nuts do, but they whisper them steadily, day by day, helping protect kidney tissue, improve circulation, and keep the flame of life burning warm. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause and take in what you've learned. Your kidneys are not just filters. They're guardians of your vitality, tirelessly working to keep you balanced. And with something as simple and accessible as nuts, you can support them in profound ways. Walnuts calm inflammation and strengthen vessels. Pistachios relax circulation and balance metabolism. Almonds protect cells while offering gentle protein. Brazil nuts restore antioxidant power with selenium. And hazelnuts whisper steady protection against scarring and stiffness. Alongside them, even something as natural as diaphragmatic breathing can lower stress, improve circulation, and ease the burden on your kidneys. At any age, but especially after 50, these small, steady steps can make the difference between decline and renewal. This is your chance to protect your health, to choose resilience. I'm Dr. Brian. Thank you for watching Vital Science for Seniors.